When the heavy canvas mat pressed against Caleb's bruised back and the suffocating weight of his instructor pinned him helplessly to the ground, it was not the physical pain that broke him, but the sudden realization that the woman staring down into his eyes was the very person whose life his family had destroyed years ago. As sweat dripped from her brow and her hands locked his shoulders into an inescapable hold, she leaned in close during the quiet intensity of the midday light and whispered a question that resonated far beyond the walls of the studio, asking if he truly wanted her to get off now or if he was finally ready to face the truth he had been running from his entire life. If this story touches your heart and you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please take a brief moment right now to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, pass this along to someone who might need it, and subscribe to our channel to join our growing family. The story began on a crisp, sunlit morning in the quiet coastal town of Oakhaven, where the bright sunlight streamed through the high windows of the local martial arts academy, illuminating decades of worn wood and polished training mats. Caleb had walked into the academy 6 months prior, not out of a desire to learn combat, but out of a desperate need to find discipline and quiet the relentless guilt that had haunted his thoughts for nearly a decade. Years ago, when Caleb was just a reckless teenager, his older brother Marcus had engaged in a fraudulent business scheme that ruined several local families, driving one prominent local carpenter into bankruptcy and exile before Marcus vanished to escape legal repercussions, leaving Caleb to carry the burden of a ruined family name in a town that never forgot. Caleb had spent his early 20s drifting from job to job, isolated by the silent judgment of his neighbors and burdened by the mistaken belief that he was inherently flawed and bound to follow his brother's dishonorable path. The instructor at the center of the academy was Chloe Bennett, a quiet, fiercely disciplined master of defensive grappling whose calm demeanor hid a past marked by sudden hardship and remarkable resilience. Unbeknownst to Caleb when he first enrolled in her open afternoon classes, Chloe was the daughter of the very craftsman whom Marcus had devastated years earlier, though years of grueling training, personal growth, and intense focus had transformed her pain into an unwavering pursuit of physical and mental mastery. Throughout their months of rigorous daylight sessions, Chloe had watched Caleb closely, recognizing the familiar shadowed look in his eyes, a look of someone carrying heavy secrets, yet she had treated him with exact impartiality, testing his endurance, refining his balance, and pushing him to his absolute physical limits under the warm glare of the afternoon sun. As the weeks turned into months, Caleb found a strange sense of peace within the grueling routine of the dojo, spending long daylight hours practicing breakfalls, sweeps, and defensive postures under Chloe's watchful eye. He began to admire her quiet strength and profound patience, noticing how she treated every student with dignity regardless of their skill level, creating a sanctuary where people could rebuild their confidence and overcome personal adversity. However, as Caleb's technique improved, so did his internal conflict, because he lived in constant fear of the day Chloe would discover his true identity and realize that the student she was pouring her energy into was the younger brother of the man who had torn her family apart. That secret hung over Caleb like a heavy shroud, making every respectful bow at the start of class feel like an unintentional deception, even as he worked harder than anyone else to earn her approval. The boiling point arrived on a sweltering Tuesday afternoon, when the sun reached its peak directly above the skylights of the gym, filling the training room with an amber glow that highlighted every speck of dust in the air. Chloe announced a mandatory partner exercise focused on positional dominance and mental fortitude under pressure, pairing herself directly with Caleb in front of the assembled class to demonstrate advanced pin escapes. As they stepped onto the center mat, the atmosphere grew dense with unspoken tension. Caleb felt his pulse racing not from fear of the physical exertion, but from the sudden, intense scrutiny of Chloe's sharp brown eyes, which seemed to pierce right through his defensive posture before the exercise had even begun. When the signal was given, the drill escalated far beyond a simple routine demonstration, transformed by a sudden surge of raw energy as Chloe effortlessly countered Caleb's cautious movements, sweeping his legs and forcing him onto his back with fluid, devastating precision. Within seconds, she had secured a dominant chest-to-chest mount, her knees pinning his arms beneath her body weight, holding him entirely immobile while the afternoon light cast sharp shadows across their faces. It was in that breathless, motionless hold, with Caleb pinned completely at her mercy, that Chloe leaned down, her gaze locked squarely onto his trembling eyes, and quietly asked if he wanted her to get off now or if he was finally going to stop fighting the memory of who he was. In that quiet, powerful instant, Caleb realized with overwhelming clarity that Chloe had known his identity all along, having recognized his lineage from the very first day he stepped onto her mats. Rather than seeking vengeance or turning him away, she had spent months guiding him through his own self-doubt, using the discipline of martial arts to teach him that he was not responsible for his brother's sins and that his life was defined by his own choices. As tearful relief broke through Caleb's composure under the warm daytime glare, he finally stopped resisting the pin, relaxing his shoulders and admitting his long-held shame, allowing the heavy weight of past guilt to lift from his chest for the first time in 10 years. Chloe slowly released her grip and stood up, reaching out a firm, steady hand to help Caleb to his feet in front of the supportive, quiet room of fellow students. She explained to him that true martial arts was never about holding power over another person, but about helping others find their footing when life had knocked them down, proving that forgiveness is a conscious choice that heals both the giver and the receiver. From that afternoon forward, Caleb no longer trained to escape his past, he trained to build a future grounded in accountability, honor, and community service, eventually becoming an assistant instructor at the academy, dedicated to helping troubled young people find hope and purpose through discipline. Before we reach the conclusion of this inspiring journey, please take a moment to leave a meaningful comment below sharing your thoughts on forgiveness, second chances, or a time when someone gave you the grace to start over. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Their story serves as a lasting reminder that no matter how heavy the mistakes of our past or the burdens handed down to us may feel, a single act of grace and understanding can shatter the cycle of pain, unlocking a bright new path forward for anyone willing to accept second chances and walk toward the light.